Hello, I want to talk to you about this article in The Spectator, written by Julie Bindel, and it's entitled Laurel Hubbard is the beginning of the end of women's sports, and it shows a picture of Laurel Hubbard. Laurel Hubbard is a trans woman. Let's see, she is 43 years old, which is quite old for a weightlifter. And she transitioned from male to trans woman in 2012, which means she's been a woman for less than 10 years. It means that she was, about 33 when she transitioned, and it means that she spent 33 years building up her male muscles before she started to grow her hair. I don't know what other medical procedures she's gone through, but she has spent most of her life as a man. She went through male puberty. She did male sports. And so far as I am concerned, as an athlete, she is a man. But New Zealand doesn't see it like that. Now, I don't know whether it's just greed on the part of New Zealand. That is, this is their one chance. They're a small country. They have a small pool to choose from. Their chances of an Olympic gold are very slight in almost anything. And so this is a shoo-in. If that's going through their minds, then that's vile. If what's going through their minds is that they're too woke to tell that woman that she's really a man and she shouldn't be in competing in women's sports, then they're stupid. They're stupid and they're evil, and they've been taken over by something evil as well. Because, as Julie Bindel says, Laurel Hubbard is the beginning of the end of women's sports. No woman can compete against this. Bindel starts by pointing out that female sports champions are important feminist role models for girls. Look at Martina Navratilova, Jessica Ennis-Hill, Nicola Adams and Shawn Massey-Ellis. These women are looked up to by so many young women, whether they want to enter the sporting world or not. And that's true. I was never much good at tennis, but I remember the tennis stars that were winning Wimbledon when I was a teenager, and it just encouraged me, even though I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere near their level. The decision to allow Laurel Hubbard, a 43-year-old weightlifter who transitioned from male to trans woman in 2012 against female competitor in the forthcoming Olympic Games, as a female, is the beginning of the end for women's sport. Why does women's sport exist at all? Because biology in sport matters. Separate categories give females equal opportunities of sporting success. Australian Weightlifting Federation's chief executive, Michael Keelan, has spoken out about how unfair Hubbard's inclusion is to female competitors. We all surely know it's unfair, even those speaking out in support of Hubbard's inclusion. They just don't care about women. I want to point something out about the male anatomy, speaking as an artist. Now, let's start with the gorilla prototype of humanity. The males fight each other to be top gorilla. And for that reason, they have to be very as well armoured as they could be. So since fighting involves biting, they have to have bigger jaws. They have to have thicker skulls to help protect from bumps and bangs. And that's all very heavy. So the neck has to be thicker to support it. And then the shoulders have to be wider to support that. And in any case, you need more strength in your arms if you're more or less bipedal and fighting. So the shape of a man is this inverted triangle. Women didn't have the need for that, so most of their weight is concentrated much lower down in the hips because those hip bones are what cradle a baby. There is no way that a woman weightlifter can get the same amount of muscle mass on her narrower shoulders and the finer bones as a man. And he's been 33 years a man, so he's pretty well developed. Even with all the estrogen and all the anti-testosterone drugs he's taken, his bones are still masculine density. His shoulders are still the masculine width. His muscles still have to be stronger to run all that weight. And so they're going to be stronger for lifting weights. And that's all there is to it. He is not, from the point of view of being an athlete, he is not a woman. He is a man. Now, the fact is, he is a man who isn't good enough to win as a man. I don't know how somebody like him can even imagine that he'd feel anything in the way of achievement when he gets that gold from all the women. I mean, if I ran the egg and spoon race at my local school with a bunch of 5-year-olds and I won, would anyone think that I had actually achieved anything? Could I believe, oh yeah, I won the egg and spoon race against a bunch of 5-year-olds? Well, that's more or less what it amounts to here. And yet you get Olympic committees saying, no, that's all right, let her do it. Let's see. As one study published last year highlighted, scientists found that the male performance advantage in weightlifting was 30% when compared to women. Yet, crucially, even when transgender women suppressed testosterone for 12 months, the loss of lean body mass, muscle area and strength was only around 5%. In other words, even after reducing testosterone, trans women retain most of their strength and power. That is inevitable. They wouldn't be able to lift their arms if they lost their strength and power because their shoulders, their arm, their bones and everything is heavier. They need more muscle just to power those. It's so obvious. Why then, with all this evidence that shows how unfair it is, do the likes of the Olympic Committee allow natal males to compete against females? 2 words, fear and capitulation. Any dissent from the trans women are women mantra earns you an accusation of bigotry. Yeah, they're just cowards. This is an example of cowardice meeting bad manners. This Laurel Hubbard just has bad manners and is prepared to go the full hog with them. And the Olympic Committee, they're just cowards and they're just caving in the face of bad manners. So in 2019, for instance, somebody who was brave got stupendously slapped down. In 2019, tennis champion and lesbian icon Martina Navratilova was dropped from the advisory board and as an ambassador of US-based Athlete Ally, which supports LGBT sports people. The 18-time Grand Slam winner was deemed to be transphobic. Her crime? Navratilova wrote in the Sunday Times that it was insane that transgender athletes who decide to become female had achieved honours that were beyond their capabilities as men. And she is right, and it is insane. But she apparently is one of the few sane people in an insane world. Now, this is the last sentence here, and it is shocking and it is sad. It's just awful. And it's this: Hubbard took the place of Kuinini Manamua, a 21-year-old woman of colour who had trained for years. This would have been her first Olympics. Julie Bindel says, remember her name, because it's not a name you're going to see on the Olympic Roll of Honour. You're going to see this person instead, who has stolen femininity and will steal the honour that was due to a woman. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.